Welcome to No Contingencies, a real estate live show with no filters, no BS, and no safety nets. This is episode 18 of our show. We are now on the air. I'm Liz Ryan.
I'm Parker Pemberton.
I am Nicholas Walpole, behind the controls.
Hello, Nicholas. I'm going to have today's guest introduce himself because I think the background that led him to today is really an interesting part of who he is. So please help me welcome to the show. Nick, are you ready with applause?
Yes.
Okay, good. Please help me welcome to the show, Ali Reda. Woo!
Wow, the studio audience is really giving me a warm welcome here.
Bigging you up.
That's why you wear the earphones.
So you can, yeah,
So you
exactly.
can get the full experience.
So
Yeah.
you can hear that. All right. Do you just, rather than me pulling it out of you, just give us your general background. How'd you get to where we are today?
Well, it all started in 2008 when everybody was running out of the industry.
Yes.
Somehow I was one of the foolish ones running into it. And all I
And
knew,
that is all you need to know about
exactly.
Ali.
Let's leave it there. The short version is I was leaving an outside sales job with a very, very long sales cycle.
Okay.
And I heard that I could sit in an office for 8 hours a day. I would be provided with all the leads that I needed, given scripts, and anything I closed would be payable in 45 days. So at that point, that was enough for me to say, let's go. And that was mortgage.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was mortgage. So I'll fast forward the 17 years of mortgage, but I quickly moved to a leadership position.
Okay.
Found my passion in training and development. I'm very, very passionate about human psychology and how you can find win-win situations to get people where they want to go. Because it turns out people actually really love to buy. They just don't want to be sold. Right? So if you can get the people's guards down, that's the best
Fair.
opportunity you have to help them. So when learning that, I wanted to teach that. And I did that for quite some time, eventually transitioned to the real estate space.
Okay.
And took a leadership position with a large brokerage and coached and trained real estate agents on how to build their businesses efficiently.
Yeah.
Did that for a couple years and then decided I wanted to build my own team, introduce tailored real estate, and then fast forward to today, joined this team here, Pemberton Real Estate. Well, I shouldn't say team anymore, this brokerage.
There you go.
Correct.
Pemberton Real Estate in December, so about 4 or 5 months ago. And really what we were looking to do was build leverage into our business, and we've done just that.
Yeah.
How's that for a quick intro?
That was a really good quick intro.
All right.
And when you say we, tell us who your cohorts are.
Yes, Tailored Real Estate consists of myself, Ryan Walseth, and our backbone, Deja Alexander.
Excellent. I love it. Okay. So you build a successful business in mortgage, then you transition into real estate. Just on the agent side, not so much the leadership side, what skills from that lending experience gave you a big advantage when you moved over to the real estate side?
Question. I think it's really just grounded in practical knowledge around the money side of things.
Yeah.
We know that real estate's an emotional decision, but it's grounded financially. And that's what gives people a lot of emotion and a lot of pause, and being able to walk into that, understand the real estate side, but also come at it from a financial perspective, I think gives quite a bit of an edge.
Absolutely,
We can
it
answer
does.
those questions when people have them on the spot.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because Nicole Junker, also one of our longest standing agents, is in a similar position where she started in mortgage. And I think it gave her a comfort level with those conversations that other agents don't start with. Were you always a math guy?
I don't know if I'm a math guy today,
Okay, fair.
but I'm a technical guy.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a question that comes up a lot with mortgages. I don't think it's really the math part,
Yeah.
because especially in this day and age, right, we're not doing long form math on paper. Right? We
No.
have calculators, but understanding how money moves and how money works, I think, really speaks to how my mind works.
Yeah.
Very technically, very organized, and there's no real emotion when it comes to money and finance. It's just plugging in facts and details, and it spits out something for you.
Yeah. How do you make that easy to understand for clients? Because probably at this point in your career, the money part of it, you know, you can work your way through that pretty quickly.
I think it's really just facing it head on, and putting that conversation, center. and early on, because I think when we don't have that conversation, that's where you can find yourself in weird positions. People are acting funny. People are not shooting you straight. Really, it's something that you missed in the beginning, which was the money conversation.
Yeah.
And it's so, so, so important.
Yeah. What do you think is the most confusing part about that aspect of real estate for buyers and sellers?
The financial
Yeah.
part,
Yeah.
I think that they don't talk about it early enough in the conversation, because people want the sexy part of real estate, which
Yeah.
is the houses. They want to get to that as quickly as possible, and then the money oftentimes becomes the afterthought.
Yeah.
You know, so mortgage lenders, we would always say, like, man, these clients are doing it backwards. They should be meeting with us first, and then we should be the ones referring them to the real estate agents.
Yeah.
Versus the other way around. Because a lot of times we find ourselves in positions as mortgage lenders, when I was doing that, where, hey, we found a house that we like. Now we got to figure out if we qualify for it. And
Right.
gosh, hopefully they do. And hopefully
Yeah.
it's a payment that they're anticipating. Because if it's not, then it's really challenging to put that toothpaste back in the tube and say, hey, no, you know what? You saw this, but you're actually qualified at about $150,000 less than that.
Yeah.
And gosh, that's a big fail on the agent's part, in my opinion.
Yeah.
For me, there's a lot to unpack from that series of questions that you just asked.
Yeah.
Can I take over?
Of course.
Number one, you get into the mortgage business in 08, 09. You know, back then, it's pretty commonly known, 06, 07, 08, they're giving loans to everybody no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
They're giving out, you know, loans like Halloween candy. And I should say, we could even back that up to 2, 3, 4, 5, which led to the collapse, right?
That's right.
And so the strategy there, what you just said, was you should meet with the lender first and get your ducks in a row before you start the actual process. Well, that's not the way the consumer has always been trained. Mm-hmm. It is absolutely 100% the right advice. Mm-hmm. And that's what we recommend. And anybody listening to us should always get that financial picture figured out first, because there's so much letdown on the other side. And even if they're something were to change in that 60-day period of time, for example, where they're looking for homes and their PITI goes up $65, that can make and break some people, right? I mean, that's
Absolutely.
you know, that is the determining factor of losing a house or not to some people. So the other thing that I just thought of, or I think your perspective, is how valuable it is to have life experience before you get into these industries. Because I often draw on my past experiences, unrelated to real estate, but lawn care, professional golf, college golf. Like, how important do you think that was for you to cut your teeth on the mortgage side before you got into the real estate side?
I think it was really, really, really valuable, because, you know, the mortgage part, you don't have that sexy end product, right? So really, you learn how to develop relationships with people who are going to send you people looking for a mortgage. That's number one, relationship building. Number two, you learn to have really uncomfortable conversations and how to navigate those with people that you might have just met. So building that rapport very, very fast to get them comfortable enough to have what we used to call the glass pants conversation. Because ultimately, when you're running somebody's credit, you're looking through that, you can pretty well tell, you know, how they've led their life or the set of circumstances that they have and how they manage their money. It tells a lot about a person. And then getting to that conversation really, really fast, you know, when you've just met the person, now all of a sudden you're talking about one of the most intimate things is their finances. There's a skill to that, and there's also tact to that you need to deploy so that they feel comfortable with that conversation.
As a lender too, you have to get them settled and comfortable to have that conversation, because financial conversation is uncomfortable for a lot of people.
I would wager to say most people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of things that are more uncomfortable, but they might not be podcast
Maybe not.
appropriate.
No.
But you know, you pull bank statements for 90 days, and you can see everything.
Oh, yeah.
Which are required, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but back to that experience part. So that's the thing that sticks out the most with when I think about you, and Wally too. But you get into the bit, like in 08, you're not thinking about selling real estate at that point. You're trying to figure out how to acquire mortgage clients. And so you have to get every day, you have to get 100 no's before you get a yes.
100%.
When you came into real estate, your expectation was that. And I think a lot of people get into real estate with the expectation that it's going to be like you see on TV, which is you make a lot of money and you have a lot of free time.
Well, yeah, that's the HGTV version.
Yeah.
Right, of
And
real
probably
estate.
the reason why we have such a high failure rate is probably just expectation. So guys like you, gals like you, a lot of people that have that previous experience come in with built-in expectation. And I think that allows you to sustain your career in up markets, down markets, side markets, whatever it is, because you built it on the right foundation.
I would agree with that. And I think, kind of the old school mentality. One of the things that I've always felt confident in is that it doesn't matter what it is that I'm doing in some sort of a relationship business. I know that I have the foundation and I can find success in it. So really it becomes about, okay, what do I want to do and how do I want to do it and what's the life that I want to build? And that can dictate what I can do, which is why, a lot of people gave me a lot of flack for, I had a pretty good mortgage business. And granted, it was my intention to keep more focus on it than I have. But I wanted to apply those skills in another place. I wanted to learn more. For me, the thirst for knowledge is never ending. If I find myself in a position where, you can, from the outside, call it successful, money's coming in, you've got a good team, you're well respected in the industry, but I'm not learning. For me, I'm in a cage, and I'm going to shake free. And that's what happened. And that's the reason why I said, okay, you know what? What's the closest business that this thing touches that people know me in? And it kind of, I thought about it before, but it kind of happened a bit by accident. But when it did come up, I said, you know what, this absolutely does make sense, and it is a skill that I would like to hone in. And my initial goal was, I am known and respected as a leader on the mortgage side. I would like to have that on the real estate side, so then we can decide what to do with that, because coaching, training, that's always been my thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you develop as a human being, 17 years is a really long time. You had kids, you watched markets crash, you had breakups, you had new relationships, you had just even over my 10 years since coming back into real estate, there's been so much change. And Liz, you too.
Yep.
You talk about that all the time.
Yeah, 100%.
Change is constant.
Yeah.
But the thing that I really think about when I think about you and other people that have similar stories is, you went through so many different markets. And as a loan officer, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but when rates started to skyrocket, what was the number? 70% of loan officers went out of business.
Yeah.
It was worse for loan officers than it was for real estate agents.
Well, we always feel it a bit earlier.
Right.
Whether it's a downside or an upside, we would always feel it a bit earlier. But I know that because when I came into it, it was down, and I'm actually super thankful it was down, because I came in there and I was actually really excited. I was in my mid-20s. I'd get a list, and it's they would be not quite as high quality as the Zillow stuff today. But it'd be like Lending Tree and things like that. Somebody would go and click on the dancing mortgage rate guy in the corner, and then 17 mortgage lenders would then call them. Those are the quality leads. And then there was the lesser quality, which is the Experian leads, which are the dollar leads. And that's when, let's say, another loan officer takes an application and they pull credit as it relates to a mortgage. Then Experian goes and sells that out.
Yeah.
To the guys who don't want to pay for the good leads, the Glenn Garys. These are the bottom feeder leads. And actually, I made my career off those ones because nobody wanted them. Nobody wanted to call them, but there was a tack to them.
And the goal is to get into a conversation and then provide value and create a relationship before they get to that point of clicking the next button, right? So yeah, there's a ton of value in that, but it just takes so much more follow-up. I'll put this in relation to real estate agents today. It's like buying pay-per-click Google leads or like Sierra leads, which are pay-per-click Google leads, versus Zillow leads. You're going to pay $10 for that lead, $12 for that lead. It's going to take 18 months to convert, and it's going to require 45 different conversations, but you paid $10 for it.
Right.
Versus a Zillow lead, it's going to click a button today, and you're going to pay a 40% referral fee to it. Now, both leads are valuable. I think you have right now leads and you have later leads.
Yeah.
But if you can establish the habit of working all of those and looking at a lead as a relationship.
Yes.
Long term, you have a huge pipeline that's being built.
I would agree. The gentleman, his name's Preston Carter. He brought me into this business, and he said something early on, because we were paid. We had a little salary, and then it was largely commission, right, at the time. And what he mentioned was, most people, if I tell you you got to make 150 dials a day, they're going to say, "Oh my God, I do not want that job." But what if I framed it this way? Make 150 dials a day every single day, and I'm going to pay you a salary of $200,000 a year. Now, how many people will take that job?
Yeah.
And what I quickly learned was the reality is he was actually underestimating that end result of 200,000 quite a bit, because I got in there and I said, okay, the one they used to give us these sheets every single morning, which is our conversion report. These are how many dials you had, how many people said hello. Out of those people that said hello, how many did you get to credit with, and then how many did you set appointments with, and all of that. So there was one piece of that report that I got obsessed with, and it was hello to close. Right? Answer the phone to close. And I just focused on that number.
Yeah.
Right. And when I first started, it was 11 hellos for one closing. So I said, okay, cool. How many closings do I want? Let's just set that. But the cool thing about that stat there is it only gets better. So by the end, before I moved into management and out of production, it was 2.5 hellos
Jeez.
for a closing. And I framed that report. I actually still have it. But it's very, because it's a mindset shift.
Yeah.
You know?
And I would imagine that floats on demand too. You know, but going back to just your years, I think there's so much to like unpack there. I think about it often because really the past tells us the story of the future. And the story of our lives too. You could even say on the personal side, like if you don't fix your past shit, it's going to come back to haunt you later.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's very just relatable in business. You go through some of those markets where refis are now an option. You know, where you're saving people money. Well, those hellos are now, well, hey, I can literally save you, $6,000 a year on your mortgage. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, that opens up the door. But when rates go back up, refis dry up. Because now no one's in the right mind is going to refi if rates are 2% higher unless they really have to. Mm-hmm. So the interesting part with your story is that you had all of these ups and downs, but also these different markets that taught you that it's really just comes down to the activities of what you need to do on a daily basis. And then that moves with the economy and the market, right?
100%. And that's kind of been the anchor, for me, and the things that I train. I mean, there's more high level stuff that you can train, but I think people, they want the high level stuff. They want the more fun stuff, the more visible stuff, the sexy stuff. The reality is most successful people actually lead pretty boring lives. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, you can attest to that, right? It's not the thing that, and I'm not saying you're boring, right? What I'm saying rather is, let me clarify that. What I'm saying is that it's very routine. Right? You get up at a certain time, you do a certain thing, you spend time with the family, you get off to the gym, you get to the office, you do the things until about this time, then you get home, spend time with the kids, do the dinner thing, go to sleep, and then you repeat, mm-hmm. Right? That is not the sexiest thing, but you find that routine, consistency trumps talent every single day. And I learned that early on, way early. I was an insecure kid coming out of high school, because the one thing that anchored me was soccer. When I moved to the United States in '99, there really wasn't any solid soccer program, so I felt kind of lost. That's a thing that I felt that made me feel valuable. And growing up in a Middle Eastern family, I don't know if you know this, but you have two options. You're a doctor or an engineer. That's it. Right? Those are the options that you have. I was neither. I didn't know how to spell either. So I was like, Dad, I'm going to go into business. He's like, yeah, what's that mean? And meanwhile, I've got all my cousins out here getting fancy degrees and master's degrees and all these things, right? So what I learned early on, there was a moment that I really hang on to, is they were all in college and I was here. I was working a job. I don't even remember what it was. I think I was door knocking at the time.
That's amazing.
But I started to find some success and have a little money in my pocket. And I bought myself a cool car. It was a Lexus GS 400. I thought it was really cool. It was several years old. It wasn't new by any means, but I thought it was cool. They came back for Thanksgiving or Christmas or something like that, and they were all broke college students.
Yeah.
I took him out for a night on the town. I covered it. I paid the bill. Took him out. We went out. We had a blast. And then came back. And I was thinking about that. And I was like, man, I'm the youngest of them all. Ooh. They're off in college. I'm feeling super insecure. But I realized something is that I had a head start. I started earlier. While they're doing all that, I'm over here running. Well, if I can keep running, I don't think they'll ever catch up, right? So the hustle part of it is real, and that's going to trump the smarts and the talent and all of that stuff if you can just stay consistent on a pace that's sustainable for you. And that's what it's been ever since. And that was a huge turning point for me in my own personal confidence.
Yeah.
Well, you said the success part, so I don't have to say that about myself. So thank you. I appreciate that. But I am boring. Absolutely boring. I said yesterday, every day is like Groundhog's Day, because it's like I see the same car on 212 every morning at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to their job, and hopefully, you know, they love their job. But a lot of people on that road are, you know, going off because they got to hit a time clock at some point. And yeah, so yeah, sometimes it does feel like Groundhog's Day, but then I look at what the result is, and I know that consistent action is the key to everything.
It's so worthwhile. It's so worthwhile. And quite frankly, the emotional fortitude that you need and the roller coaster to like live this fun life and, you know, it's so taxing. Consistency is actually what makes us feel secure and safe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what we want, is safety, predictability. We want to know where we're going to be. We want to know what's in the bank. We want to know whatever is coming up in the future.
And I think a lot of salespeople struggle with that because they don't know what's coming up, or they can't hold themselves to that discipline of being consistent. Mm-hmm. And that's why we see the roller coaster ride in real estate.
You know, it's interesting you say that, because I think that applies on a lot of granular levels. And, you know, later today I'm going to do the training on mastering negotiations, right? And I think a lot of people might have a certain anticipation on what that might be about. I'm going to give them terms, and this is how you do it, and this is how you... It's not that. It's all in the preparation.
Yeah.
It's all in setting the stage beforehand to make the road ahead of you easier.
Yeah.
Having the tough conversations, having the discipline to do something the same way where I know what's coming up ahead of me. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. That's the magic in it, is being able to do that stuff up front to pave that road. It's not winging it. It's not winging it. And we like to tout ourselves sometimes that, like, hey, you know, we went in there and winged it, and it all worked out. Cool. It's nice to have the skill to do that, but going through life winging it, going through a career winging it, that's stressful.
That's not sustainable.
No.
100%.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So certainly that's something that we know about you, is that consistency and discipline have been a big part of your success. Give us some specifics, though. What routines did you, as an up and coming agent, or do you now? What routines do you stick to?
For me, it's all in how I start my day and how I end my day.
Okay.
In this industry, I know for a fact that once 10:30 hits,
Yeah.
I'm on other people's agendas and I'm more reactive to what's coming at me. So I have a very small window in the day that's mine.
Yeah.
And then I can kind of set the pace. So for me, it's a early start is a non-negotiable for me.
Yeah.
Also because I'm a single dad. I've got a 9-year-old at home, Zane.
Yeah.
And he gets up at 7, so I have to be to the gym and back, ready to get him out the door
By then.
before. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that was a bit out of necessity, but it's worked out really well for me. After that, his bus comes at 7:40. I get to the office generally by 8 o'clock if I don't have any morning appointments. And I like to get to the office at 8. The reason why is I've got quiet time. It's usually pretty quiet in the office. And 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock is my non-negotiable lead generation time. That's the only time I can get it in. So I have enough time in the morning if I get there at 8 to get through the stuff from yesterday, go through emails, just do whatever it is that you need to do. And then by 9 o'clock, I can be locked in for a couple of hours, get that done. Now, the rest of the day, anything can happen. The day's a win. And then the last part of the day is I keep Zane on. He doesn't like this. Now that he's 9 years old, he's really pushing back quite a bit, but it's been 7:30.
Yep.
7:30 is bedtime. That's it. Mm-hmm. Now it's a bit of like, well, you got to go in your room and close the door. You can read a book for half an hour if you want, but
Right.
You know, because I need my time. If he's staying up till 9 o'clock, I don't have time to unwind.
Yeah.
You know, so at 7:30, he goes to bed. We do his bedtime routine, and I do what I need to do around the house, clean up, whatever.
Yep.
And by 8 o'clock, 8:30 max, I'm usually getting into bed,
Okay.
winding down, reading a book, spending quality time with Katie, my partner.
Yep.
And eyes are closed. I can't keep them open, you know, much beyond 9 o'clock.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that's worked really, really well for me.
Beginning and end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Okay.
Liz,
Yes.
how have having kids and watching your girls grow up, now older,
Mm-hmm.
changed your life in terms of your schedule or your preparation?
For sure. I mean, so my husband's a high school teacher, so he was always out the door before 6. I mean, he was never part of the morning. So my schedule always revolved around when people needed to be to school and what my involvement in that was going to be, right? And the older they get, my involvement becomes less and less.
Yeah.
And so I think, you know, initially my very first job with Pemberton was because I needed a job that I could do between when I dropped the kids off at school and when I picked them up. I said, that's all I'm willing to work right at this moment. Whereas now my kids are 16 and 21. So they're kind of like, see you, Mom, you're good. Like, have a great day. We don't need you. So I can dictate my own time now, but in those years, it's very different, and it's very much around what works for your family.
Liz and I talk about this all the time. It's that kids actually make you more productive,
Absolutely.
more efficient, if you're a fully committed parent.
Yeah.
Because you have to perform between the hours that you have, so you can't screw around.
Yeah.
And it's a gift in so many ways, but from a business perspective, like what is it, Pareto's principle,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Time you'll use the time allotted.
80-20.
Yeah. Well, no, that's Parkinson's, isn't it?
It's
No,
somebody else.
that's
It's a
Pareto.
different P.
Oh,
There's
oh.
two different P
But-
ones.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sorry.
We
on
have
the
this
spot.
conversation like every other week on the podcast. I love it.
Yeah, like, well, if you have all day Saturday to clean your house, you're
You'll
probably
take
going to
all
wait
day.
until the end. If you have 30 minutes, you're going to rush and get it done and probably have a decent product. But
Yeah.
having kids has really put me in that position of being more efficient as a human, because I take that role as a dad very seriously,
Yeah.
and I'm not willing to compromise being a great dad for anything else. So
Right.
I think it's a huge gift for all three of us.
Yes.
And if you don't have that, you really have to hold yourself accountable. And a lot of the people that we see that don't make it in the industry are ones that really just aren't accountable.
Yeah.
So
To themselves.
yeah,
first.
exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so end of the day and beginning of the day, I love it. But then the gold was in that 2 hours of lead gen. What are you doing? That's what everybody always wants to know. Like, how are you actually doing lead generation?
So the most important part for me that I realized this quick when I first started on the real estate side. I was
Yeah.
17 years into the industry, and 2 years leading real estate agents on how to build their business, but I hadn't done the thing myself in
Yeah.
quite some time, right? Even on the mortgage side, like it was a bit different because I'd been in it for such a long time. My phone would ring. So on the real estate side, my phone didn't ring at all. So I had to make it ring.
Yes.
And it took me about a week to realize that I spent 30 minutes deciding what I was going to do
Yes.
during that lead gen time. And it was a bit of a stressful 30 minutes because I knew that I was supposed to be going and started and, and then distractions would come and, this and that because I wasn't doing stuff. I was kind of just putzing around.
Yeah.
So really the database piece became my thing. I had a lot of contacts from my time in the mortgage industry. And is he putting it up there?
It's Parkinson's.
It's
yeah.
Parkinson's.
Yeah.
He solved it for us.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, I had a lot of contacts from the mortgage industry and people in my database. So I just plugged it in there and I started just going alphabetically, and I would just go down the list. So I wouldn't have to spend time thinking about what I was going to be doing, and I was calling and texting.
Yeah.
From there, every time I touched someone, no matter what happened, I would set a task for the next time, right? And this is before setting like campaigns and things like
Yeah.
that. That's level 2, 3, 4. But I was just keeping it very simple. And then before I know it, after 90 days, it was just, I had stuff to do, right? I had people to call every single time, people to follow up with. And then if I didn't, I would just go back to that list where I left off. I would write the last name because it's all alphabetical, write the last name where I left off, and then I'd go back to
That's
that
where you
once I had
start.
nothing to do. And that's where I started. You know, now it's a little bit more complex based on what's going on, but quite frankly, I mean, it was a month ago that I was like, wow, it's a little drier than I would like right now in the industry. It's been a little bit more stop and go. That's what I did in
Yeah.
the morning. I went back to that. I'm like, okay, I look at the last note here. It was from 6 months ago, but this is the last one I was at, and
Yeah.
I started going.
We
Nothing
should
fancy.
we should require anybody getting into real estate school to listen to this conversation and see if they still want to be in this career after hearing.
Well, and I love how
Those actors.
similar what you're describing is to what Austin Hardy talked about 2 weeks. Because I mean, his business model has been very, very similar. Like, get up in the morning, kid to school, get to the gym, and then 2 hours of tasks in the database and follow up boss. And he's like, it's predictable. It'll take me about 2 hours. There's usually about 50 tasks. And then I asked him, how many of the tasks do you end up then setting a follow up task for that person? He's like, well, all of them. Right? But I mean,
Yeah.
I think you're so right to say one of the biggest stumbling blocks is for an agent to figure out, okay, I'm gonna set aside this time for lead gen, but what am I gonna do?
You know, I think there's too many shiny objects. I
Yes.
really think there's too many shiny objects because people will talk about social media, for instance, right? And say my lead gen is social media. I'm not saying you can't lead gen in social media. I actually have some really good audios, people to listen to lead gen in social media. But I think that the core is understanding the difference between passive and active lead generation.
Yes.
Right? Putting a post out there is passive. 9 to 11 is active.
Right.
Right? So you can certainly do that. Your social media is a database, but what are you doing intentionally to reach out to people and to have conversations around real estate?
Yeah.
That's what the 9 to 11 is about.
Yeah, and I would say that the number of people that actually have a business that creates enough referrals to sustain a full-time career from social media it's so slim. They're such outliers. And to do that, you have to be an absolute master at it. You have to spend hundreds of hours learning about it if that's going to be your main source. So I think, I wanted to say this, like Austin last week, Ali this week, all of our guests, like these are the type of people that we want at this company. We want people that can be held accountable. We want people that are willing to do the work, that set realistic expectations. And we feel like the industry is lacking that. They're lacking that standard in the industry. And it's the truth of what you have to do. That's the thing. It's the truth. We're just telling the truth and looking for those people that want to fit into that culture. And a lot of this industry, the shame of it is you wake up, you walk to the kitchen, you like make some coffee, you sit on the couch, you watch a show, you have nothing on your calendar, you make a couple posts on social media, and then you wait.
Yeah.
And that popped up during COVID. You know, it started kind of 2018, 19, but then COVID just made that so popular.
Yeah, the work from home culture.
Yeah, and then what you saw was the market take a 180-degree turn to the toughest real estate market that there's been, and it's sustained now for 3 years. So that strategy just doesn't work. And the reason for that, for those that don't know, we have 4 million annual sales. At the height in 2021, we had 7 million. A normal market is somewhere between 5.2 and 5.4 million homes sold across the nation. We're at a historic low. So it's not the time to be deploying that strategy when there are so much fewer opportunities to sell in the first place.
I would agree 100%. I think a lot of people were taken for a loop and they had false confidence. Certainly people that came into the industry post-crash, right? If you came in 2011, 2012, 2013, and beyond, people were thinking, well, I'm real good at this. This is going well. And my phone's ringing, like, because every year it's getting better, it's getting better, it's getting better, it's getting better. And they had a false confidence. What they were mistaking for them getting better was just they're riding the market wave. And then all of a sudden, 2022 is when the mortgage people started feeling it. Early 2002,
Yep.
By the end of 2022, the realtors started feeling it.
Yeah.
and these people had a rude awakening. They're like, oh my God, what happened? What how do you spell lead gen again? What does that mean? I've never done that.
And the lenders, by the way, who were sitting on the mountaintop of the refi boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
They made, some of them made millions of dollars in those 2 years.
Most of them squandered it.
Most of them squandered it, but they focused so intensely on refis that they forgot about their purchase business. And when it dried up, the refis dried up, they didn't have any purchase business.
I'll tell you what, our team, so that year with the refis, it was my last year that I wrote a mortgage. Last mortgage I wrote was in 2021. Okay. And our team that year did 550 transactions that year, about 150 million in volume.
Yeah.
My message to our team every single day, the refis are there, take them. Do not go after that. Right now, there is a huge opportunity because every lender has their guard down and they're not paying attention to their relationships. The realtors are starting to feel a bit of a struggle right now because when COVID happened and the rates dropped, people weren't buying. There was a good 6-month window before the real estate industry caught up. It was just a bunch of refis, and all the mortgage lenders were focused on the refis, and we were taking market share like crazy, taking appointments. We said, set a minimum 3 appointments a week with agents, you know, that you can bring value to. And they were super open to it because who knows where their lender went.
Yeah.
That was the focus.
You know, the funny thing about Ali
Smart.
is that he came into the mortgage business at the worst time, and you came into the real estate business at the worst time. You realize that?
I don't know if that's genius or idiocracy.
Yeah, but I had a coach, multiple people. I remember John Cheplack telling me in 2020, he goes, "Hey, the market is incredible right now, but it's about to get terrible." And I'm like, "John, what are you talking about? We're lighting it up. We just sold 635 houses in 2020." He goes, no, Parker. He goes, "I've seen this 35 years in this business. It's going to be like turning a light switch on or off." He goes, "The second it happens and it goes off, everybody is screwed, except for the ones that are willing to do the things that they need to do." So that entire year, I wanted to learn what are the things that we need to do. And that's the opportunity to, number one, refine your business model, know how to articulate your value, which is, by the way, the same thing about listing homes or buyer consults, and then aggressively recruiting the type of people you want in your culture. Yeah. And brokerages kind of just got flat at the time. And when we committed to doing that, along with other things like our training programs and our events, and we started to take massive amounts of market share because we were doing those things. And we had 100% year-over-year growth from 2020 consecutively, 2022 to today, when other companies are merging, consolidating, selling, going out of business. And it's the same thing you're talking about, but to have that hindsight is so valuable now. Because what happens if the market shifts again? You've got all that experience to draw off of. You're going to go back to your playbook, which is your experience up here, and you're going to say, what do I have to do to shift my model? I've been in the refi boom. I've been in the purchase boom. I've been in the collapse and the crash. I've watched rates go from 3% to 7%. And like, by the way, that took like 9 months.
Yeah.
It's so much change, but that's what creates long-term success in this business is that. I think it's awareness. I think it's hindsight. I think it's emotional intelligence to be able to draw off of that. But a guy like you can do that.
I think it's understanding your just foundational stuff and not get distracted with the shiny objects that we were talking about earlier. And there's always going to be more. I mean, there's a ton of it, and there's certain things that you need to pay attention to. But depending on the type of business that you're running, or actually I would wager to say any type of business or what level it's at, if you have the basics down, and that's just a part of who you are and your values and your culture, you're going to do fine. Right? When new things start to come, like AI is a big one, I wouldn't call that a distraction. I think that's leverage, that everybody needs to be a part of. But it doesn't take away the ABCs, the foundational stuff. Right. It should amplify it, not replace it.
Yeah. And the biggest thing that I learned during that time period after the conversation with John was market share can be taken in abundance in down markets. The best opportunities we all have to grow our businesses are in the worst markets.
Absolutely.
When the good markets come, everybody has success. You kind of blend in, and in those down markets, it's when you really have to commit to doing the work. But when you come out of it, which I don't know if we're out of it yet or not, but this name on the wall is, the top independent brokerage in the state. Well, in 2020, we were just a real estate team. We built this during the toughest market in America. And so that's the message to people, is that, number one, we have the experience. We can draw off of that, but you have to do that work in down markets.
And consistently over time. And it's not pretty all the time. We've been in contact since, I think, was it late 2018, 19, and we'd meet regularly. And there was a lot of things that happened professionally, personally, all that stuff along the way. But there was some bumping against the guardrails along the way, certainly. Yeah. But what remained was the consistent, step by step, day by day, doing the work and figuring it out. And it seems like, wow, where did he come from? Well, if you're watching, right?
Right. Been here the whole time.
You're an overnight success. It took 40 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I geek out a bit because of my Batman speech the other week?
Yeah, I was going to say something, though. I think that we pride ourselves on training here as being one of the things that, is fundamental to the business. And it's interesting to see, you can really tell the young agents who come in, the ones that I'm like, yes, they're going to make it, because they take on board first the all of these lessons, exactly as you're saying. It's not always sexy. In fact, it's almost never sexy. Like, you've just got to do the fundamentals really well. And if you don't, it's not going to work. And you see the like young agents who get it straight away.
Yeah.
And again, for you, Ali, it might be tough to come in in the bad market, but that's when you want to come in. You want to come in and be successful in the bad market, because then when the going gets good, you're like, wow, all of these fundamentals made me survive, but now you can thrive. So that's fundamental. I look around. I'm in media, but I see who's going to make it because they have the skill, the dedication.
Yeah.
Anyway, please, Batman.
That's great.
Well, it's not custom, to share Batman scripts at company meetings, but it just reminded me of this. It's in Dark Knight Rises when Bane and Batman are on the bridge, and he knocks Batman down, and he says, and I want to read this so I don't screw it up. Remember when Bane says, "Oh, you think darkness is your ally, but you were merely adopted by the dark. I was born in it. I was molded by it." In relation to getting into the business in the dark, you were built in the darkness, and so when you see the light, you've already experienced what it's like to be down. And Bane was born in it, so he that line just came to mind when we were thinking about, you get into the business, both businesses, mortgage in 08 and real estate in 2022, 3.
20, yeah.
Well, I mean, literally in the shittiest market ever.
Yeah, 22.
You hit both of them at the worst times.
Right.
Hey, I think you were born in it. I think you were molded by it.
Yeah.
And when the light comes, when that good market comes, you've already got the habits and the skill set and the discipline to just absolutely take advantage.
I would have a lot easier time getting on board with the Bane references if he wasn't just such a creepy looking guy. I hate the mask thing on his.
That's why he's so great.
It's kind of badass in my opinion.
I wish I could do the voice.
Okay, I'm gonna work on coming around.
Tom Hardy too. Just knocked it out of the park.
Oh, see, Nick's gonna do the voice for us.
I was born in it. I can't do it
Even
properly.
with a little British. I mean, it's fantastic.
And if anyone doesn't know me that's listening to this, I have 3 little boys, 6, 3, and 1. So I am right in the middle of, Batman and Marvel and superheroes.
Legos
Yeah.
and-
So
Yep.
I'm living in this daily, but I think that's so applicable to you though. And anybody that, I mean, literally some of the best companies in the world rise from the ashes of terrible markets.
Yeah.
Industries change during times like that, right? And I think it's just such a cool thing, because the next time it happens, the 4 of us, Nick, will say, "Oh, we've been through this before.
Yeah.
We know what's going to happen. We know what we need to do. We know what we need to educate all of our people on."
Well, that's right.
What an advantage, I
It
think.
is. It is. Is Zane a superhero kid?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is Marvel, DC? What is he like?
It's a bit of everything. So he's got this. I got him this this picture that hangs over his bed, and it's got all of them sitting like on a construction site, like a pole hanging.
Yeah.
And it's got them all sitting there, and he loves them all. He's big on Black Panther.
Yeah.
He does love Black Panther. He thinks he's super cool in the way he moves, and he likes the story and all this stuff. But
Yeah.
Wakanda
Spider-Man,
forever,
of course.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wakanda forever. Spider-Man, he likes
Yes.
that because he can relate a little bit more. He's a younger kid.
Younger. Yep.
you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun.
Even as an adult now, when I'm going through that phase again with them, there's so much we can learn from all of that. And I try to take something from everything that I encounter. But yeah, I mean, first of all of that stuff just kicks ass at a high level.
I agree with you 100%.
The story of Thor.
Can I tell you my worst parenting moment with superheroes? So my girls, they're 16 and 21 now, but their birthdays are a day apart. So we've always celebrated their birthdays pretty close. And I don't know what year it would have been, but they were young enough that it was a little rough. But we went to the premiere of Avengers, which is the one where Thanos snaps at the end. Is it Endgame? No, is it? I think it's Infinity War. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know
Where
what
he
you're talking about.
snaps at the
Yeah.
end?
Mm-hmm.
We took the girls to that on their birthday, and it was the premiere, so it was like a midnight showing. So it's happy birthday, wah! And then we get to like 2:00 in the morning, and then Thanos snaps and everybody dies, and we're like, oh shit. I guess we'll go home. You can open some presents tomorrow. I don't know. It was a terrible call on my part.
Oh my goodness.
Graham, my 1-year-old, has a Thanos hand.
Oh,
He's got the
yeah.
glove that's got the orbs on it.
The gauntlet.
Yeah, and well, it's been passed down from his brothers, but literally, like every morning, he comes up to me and punches me in the knee because he's 1.
Thank God you're tall and it lands on your knee.
Yeah, well, he's 2'9", by the way. We measured him this morning.
He's 2'9".
2'9", which I think is probably pretty tall for a 1-year-old. But yeah, he comes up and I'm like, God, like right in the side of the knee. I'm like, this thing hurt. And it's like made of hard plastic, and then it's got a little
yeah.
padding.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Go Graham.
Go Graham.
He's
yeah.
got to take. Yeah, I mean,
Well, he's the youngest, so he's got to stick up for himself with the 2 older ones.
yeah.
Yeah.
Plus you.
Yeah, he's gonna have a bit of grit.
I'm like, you don't have to fight me every morning. It's like
Every morning.
It's like his test.
I think maybe he does.
Yeah.
All right, my friends, this was a lot of fun, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely.
That is it for today's episode of No Contingencies. If you got value from this conversation, take a second to share it with another agent who's serious about growing in this market. If you're looking for a brokerage that's forward-thinking, accountability-driven, and built for the next chapter of real estate, we should talk. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. See y'all later.
Cheers, friends.
Thanks, guys.